All right, today is primary day in Virginia and New Jersey. It's the only two states to hold gubernatorial elections in the year after a presidential election. Both races are going to be watched closely. Now, in Virginia, Democratic former Governor Terry McAuliffe is well ahead in the polls. Over in New Jersey, the Republican primary is looking like a two-horse race between former Assemblyman Jack Ciattarelli and pro-Trump candidate Hersh Singh. NBC News senior political editor Mark Murray joins us now with more. So, Mark, let's start in Virginia. What should we be watching out for? What should we be watching out for today? What should we expect from the vote?
Yeah, Joe, as you mentioned, former Governor Terry McAuliffe is the big front runner in this Democratic primary for the right to face against Republican Glenn Youngkin in the fall, which will be a must-watch contest by the nation and politicos. And Democratic primary voters in Virginia have this choice. Do you kind of stay the course, go with the status quo in a person like Terry McAuliffe, or do you go in a new history-making direction? And there are three black candidates, two of whom are running to be the state's first African-American female governor, as well as the nation's first African-American female governor, Jennifer Carroll Foy and Jennifer McClellan. But the problem that they end up having is that the people who might want to vote for McClellan, Jennifer Carroll Foy, or Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax might end up dividing the vote, where Terry McAuliffe's winning percentage just needs to be about 40%, 45% to be able to take this. But if there is going to be one candidate who does press Terry McAuliffe, it is going to be Jennifer Carroll Foy. What Terry McAuliffe has done is try to talk about that he ends up having policies. He's been talking about big, bold policies, not too dissimilar from what we saw from Joe Biden in the Democratic primaries of 2020. Here was Terry McAuliffe yesterday. Take a listen.
We can't tinker around the edges. We need someone with experience that'll come in and shake it up. Raising teacher pay, dealing with childhood nutrition issues like we're dealing with here. But if we don't do it and we just want to go along and get along, guess what? We're not going to be able to deal with this COVID crisis. It's going to be with us for many years to come. I'm ready to go big. I'm going to be bold.
Yeah, so, Joe, as I mentioned, McAuliffe is the front runner. I'm going to be looking for his margin to see if he's able to really put distance between himself and the rest of the field tonight.
All right, let's talk about New Jersey. The Republican primary there is looking a little bit closer. This is important. We know New Jersey can elect Republican governors, but what's the latest there?
Yeah, and again, this is a race in which you ended up mentioning Ciattarelli is the person who seemed to be the prohibitive front runner, but it's very crowded, high undecided vote. This is a Republican field where it shouldn't be a surprise. Former President Donald Trump, loyalty to him has been a really big campaign topic. And this contest is all for the right to challenge incumbent Governor Phil Murphy, a Democrat, in the fall. All the polling shows that Murphy is the big front runner, and that this race probably won't be as competitive as Virginia will be in the general election come November, Joe.
So, Mark, these are both Democratic states, which President Biden won in last year's election. Do Republicans have any chance of winning these in November? And are these states bellwethers at all for what to expect in the midterms, especially when it comes to trying to gauge the popularity of the former President Trump?
Do Republicans have a chance, especially in Virginia? The answer to that question is yes. Historically, going back to the 1970s, the party that has held the White House, so in this instance, it's the Democrats, have had a really hard time holding on to the Virginia governor's race, where the opposition party has won, with just one exception back in 2013, when Terry McAuliffe ended up winning the governor's mansion in Virginia. And as we've seen, Republican governors, there are Republican governors in places like Maryland, in Massachusetts, in Vermont. I think the really tricky question, though, is can Republicans be able to separate themselves from Donald Trump, and how much of an issue is Trump in these contests come November?
All right, we will see. Mark, thank you so much. Good to see you this morning.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.